Actually, it was mentioned in a Greek play called The Frogs by Aristophanes. It's also used widely by Adam Smith. Equity and whatever else is not a socialist idea. It is one that socialists try and subvert, the same way they subvert many things. And I'm not saying whether I am or not. I'm also told that I didn't have a whole pile of degrees that I've now brought in. So there.
Okay. Next question.
Hi. I have two questions. I'm a physicist and I'm also working in the risk environment for banking. First question would be, could you comment on the Nash equilibrium? Because I think this is one really major aspect of the force that is anti-centralization, and the other thing is in principle risk, because I see if you have lots of mining and lots of central environments there care a lot of risk there, and they are in the end they will split up, so it's also against the centralization.
You have competition. The core of mining is competition. It's capitalist. That means you have people competing, developing new things, whatever else. It is Schumpeterian. We have people moving from FPGAs to ASICs to 13 to 11 to 10 to 8, etc. in nanometers, in smaller, more efficient, more energy efficient systems. We find people moving location, not because they want to be in China or out of China or whatever else, but to where the most money and profit is made. You don't collude with people, and that's not a risk. The risk, what you're saying, isn't really there. It's not because of physics, it's not because of whatever else, it's because of game theory. In economics, and not because of the typical Nash equilibrium of a prisoner's dilemma or whatever else, because even those fail when you have multiplayer games, when you have multi-game games. Anyone knows what happens to a prisoner's dilemma when you have repeated play with unknown length of game? No? The typical prisoner's dilemma and bad scenario falls apart. People start cooperating. When you know that as a prisoner, if you dob in this guy, that, well, I've got family out there and other criminals, etc., and I'm going to be going into jail with a whole pile of criminals who don't like paddlers, then I have a different game. So the problem we have with some of these economic theories at the moment is we like to isolate them. Cerebus paribus. All things equal. All things aren't equal. And we don't have a Samuelson type equilibrium, because the interesting bits are what happens off the equilibrium. Anyone who's traded knows equilibriums exist at a fleeting moment. That's it. Every tick, every nanosecond is a different equilibrium, a different arbitrage opportunity, and a different world. So, no, I don't see the risk. Sorry? There's a local equilibrium, yes, for a nanosecond. As electricity prices change, it changes. We have asymmetric information, so you don't know what your competition's doing. You can plan, you can hope, you can analyse, but you don't know when they get new machines. You don't know when machines break. You don't know what rates they get. You can try and analyse and hope that, obviously they've got better power at off-peak because they're bringing more machines on at this time and less machines at this time. And then someone else brings a new machine in and it screws up your calculations. Stefan will quite happily talk to you about mining if you want to have a conversation. Well, he's already pulled his hair out, so too late. Next.
Hello, my name is Wolfgang Lohmann. I became aware of Bitcoin in 2011 while I was preparing a study on resource consumption of software. Meanwhile, we have 2017 and hardware is developing exponentially. Could you give us your opinion on the energy aspect of Bitcoin in the future? Thanks.
Bitcoin is actually incredibly efficient. Everyone talks about how much electricity it chews up. The reality is, it chews up less than Citibank. If Bitcoin was to scale out to be the sole global anything on earth for finance, it would chew up less energy than Citibank today. Citibank have more computational waste, more heat, more computers, more electricity, running databases that are not immutable, that are highly inefficient, that half the time run on COBOL, still, that fall over, that lose info, that have people running around panicking, that get hacked, than Bitcoin today. So, and yes, there are people laughing, and every bank out there has been hacked multiple times. Every bank out there has lost money multiple times, not just Visa, every single one of them. It's just within bounds of fraud. We had a nice little loss where someone nearly got away with $100 billion a little while ago, about a year, when they basically did a SWIFT transfer between central banks. And unfortunately, they put the commas in the wrong place because they didn't understand the difference between different cultures, and only got 100 million instead of 100 billion. But hey, things happen. So I think it's incredibly efficient, and it gets more efficient over time. The wonderful thing with Bitcoin and ASICs and all the rest is, as we're scaling up, the cost of electricity isn't scaling at the same level to the amount of use that we can get.
Hi, my name is Simon Geren. I'm just a simple Bitcoin user. My question would be, it sort of goes into the hoarding, but not of central governments, the bullionism, but more of people, because like as a simple user now of current volatility vis-a-vis to fiat, you always feel when you sometimes actually want to use my Bitcoin, and I have used them, but then I think like, oh, now I lost so and so much in Bitcoin and it angers me. And what do you think about the volatility problem? Because banks, for example, don't like volatility. I think I agree.
No, they don't. But that's where we need to start actually setting up some evil derivative markets, as people like to think of them, and start actually allowing hedging. When we can start doing things like options, swaptions, long puts and complex derivatives, then we can actually create a system where in the small period that you're not able to get in there and top up your account, then you haven't lost anything. Enabling you to go out there and risk your Bitcoin and use it because it's simpler, and at the same time capture any gains or losses, depending on how you do it. And so we're talking already, that's one of the things we want to get done in the next year. Has it been built yet? No. Do we want one? Yes.
Okay. I think 2 questions left. I think I had one behind here. Yes, sorry. Okay, I've given the 2.
Hi, thanks for your talk. I was wondering, in 5 years, do you think Bitcoin is going to retain its current positioning? Is it rather going to decrease in importance or increase in importance? And in light of that, what do you think a current fair valuation should be?
My answer will be Bitcoin is Bitcoin Cash, and I think it will go up incredibly. In the next little while, you'll start to see it used more and more. And I can't give you any details, but there'll be merchant deals and there'll be people starting to use it. There'll be simpler wallets, and we have technology that we'll be starting to push out there and develop, well, quite heavily and release, and that will open up the ability to easily use it. We're as soon as we can, we've got some deals with exchanges and other such things where we'll start actually opening up the ability to short and do futures and everything like that deals so that you don't lose your Bitcoin when you go and buy a hot dog or a coffee. Important stuff. And over time, it will go up because it's being used, not because people are hoarding it. Here's the thing, if everyone just hoards Bitcoin, where do we end? The housing crisis in 2006 happened because we kept saying everyone needs to own a house. We need to get people who can't afford to pay a loan and get them to own a house. We need to put people and buy a house no matter what. And for what reason? People were buying 2-3 houses and not living in them, not even renting them, because they thought they could flip them and make money. And that's what's happening right now in Bitcoin, in SegWitcoin anyway. In Bitcoin, we're going to create it to be a payment system. And if they want to compete by being a settlement system in core, good. I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to be mean and nasty and fight them. We're just going to make a damn good payment system. We're going to make a good cash. And we're going to scale it out. And I've said this many times on Twitter and other things. I have one little goal in life. I want 5 billion people using Bitcoin on a daily basis. And then it's worth something.
Hello, Mr. Wright. I'm also a big fan of Bitcoin Cash. And do you think we need to make a better promotion for that, or better marketing? Because like I see Bitcoin, I mean, it's incredibly valuable, but you cannot, people are not using it. Mm-hmm. But Bitcoin Cash allows you to use it, but right now it's so unpopular. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think once people see it is able to be used in many ways, that will change it. But yes, we need to market it. And I'm not saying that it's a single person job, and we are doing things, some of which you'll start to see. Got partnerships with some friends of mine who I've dug up from the gaming industry because they love it. I used to deal with Playboy Casino, so I've got some other industries that will be using it, or to say other industries, because gambling and other industries are a big part of what grows anything on the internet, like it or not. And once we start people using it for gaming and other things, then eventually we'll get back to the situation where people use it for coffee. And merchants will start seeing it used more, start seeing the value, and once they see it more, that's where it starts to take off.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think first, a big round of applause.